Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and I want to talk to you today about the underlying causes of occasional constipation from the Ayurvedic perspective. Okay, so what that means is that based on your body type and different types of Ayurvedic seasonal imbalances, how they can actually affect and impact your intestinal tract and your ability to eliminate regularly. So, what does that mean? Well, in the wintertime, we know we get dry. This causes an aggravation of Vata. The intestinal tract can dry out. And as I said before, the intestinal mucosa has to be just right. It's kind of like the three little bears. Can't be too dry, can't be too mucousy, has to be just right. So the strategy here for good elimination is to keep the intestinal villi just right, because when they're just right, they function, they detoxify, they assimilate, and the good microbes, which make up 90% of the cells of your body, can function, which do the heavy lifting for just about everything. So it really depends on the quality of the skin. So we can be sort of great skin farmers, farming and maintaining the healthiest skin possible inside the intestinal tract. The intestinal mucosa, if it gets very, very dry, it can get constipated. And this happens more in Vata constitutions and also to anybody in the winter. But it also happens mostly to Vata types in the winter when you start stacking the dryness that can aggravate the intestinal wall. So slimy foods, okra and slimy demulcent teas are very, very nourishing. Slippery elm, marshmallow root, and licorice root are my favorites to really lubricate the intestinal tract. There's an old Ayurvedic recipe called triphala, which is a great herb to tonify the bowel, but I like to combine that with some demulcents like licorice and slippery elm to actually provide a lubricant for the intestinal tract. Vata also is vulnerable to stress, so you want to look at the stress levels in your life, and that has a lot to do with circadian clocks and rhythms. When are you eating? How are you eating your food? Are you eating in a relaxed way? All these things make a huge difference in the ability for the intestinal tract to stay healthy for all the body types. But for Vata type, stress dries it out, causes this problem, constipation, to kind of linger on and become a long-term problem. So the Vata body types, it's all about dryness. The Pitta types, this happens it goes in stages. First we get dry, intestinal mucus gets a little bit, mucosa get a little dried out and non-functional. Toxins that are supposed to get pulled through the intestinal wall into the lymph and all that get redirected back to your liver. Your liver becomes congested and your bile becomes thick. People don't realize that the bile in your liver regulates the consistency of your stool. So Pitta body types, hot, fiery, competitive types, they tend to inflame. They tend to get congested bile. The bile is like a Pac-Man. The Pac-Mans and gobbles up toxins. It cleans out your intestinal villi, keeps them functional, and it regulates the consistency of your stool. So if the liver has gotten congested, this becomes a Pitta-based constipation because I'm not producing adequate bile flow. So we want to take what we call the bile movers, things that are going to help increase your bile flow. Well, leafy greens are some of the best bile movers, so they make sense. And they're, of course, harvested in the summer when the people get more overheated. And the Pitta body type, in the Pitta season, summer season, will get overheated, liver congestion, bile become thick, you get constipated. So therefore, more leafy greens, beets, artichokes, also great celery, also great bile movers. Apples, again, harvested in the summer, great bile movers. They have what's called malic acid. It opens up the bile ducts, flushes the bile out really good. So those are some great strategies to get you moving in the summertime when you have a congestive issue or a constipation issue based on too much heat or congested bile flow. Very, very important. The Kapha body type, generally Kapha is mucousy. Mucousy generally makes you have more stools, a looser stool, so you don't commonly get constipation from too much Kapha, but that is when the mucus sort of overshoots the mucus making runway. We produce too much mucus in the intestinal tract, and that can bog down the villi, compromise function, assimilation and detox become problematic, and then that can create sluggish function of the bowel, or on the other side, mucus in the stool or looser stools. Either way, you want to get that mucus off the intestinal tract. And those are things, again, the things that are harvested in the spring. Nature does have a plan for all these things. Leafy greens, sprouts, berries, cherries. Berries are great astringents to kind of pull out that mucus. So berries are really key. The vegetables, particularly the early vegetables like the spring greens and the young sprouts, they're loaded with chlorophyll to help fertilize good bacteria and loaded with nutrients and more antioxidants to help scrub the intestinal tract a little bit better. So they're really, really good in the early spring. And then herbs like amalaki. Amalaki is a great kind of puller of the mucus of the intestinal tract as well to keep that functional. So 3 different types of imbalances, 3 different strategies: Vata, things like triphala, slippery elm tea, licorice, marshmallow root, those demulcent herbs, higher fat winter foods that have more fat, more oils in your diet. That's what the Vata body types need. Pitta types, cooling things, aloe vera, fruits, vegetables, and bile movers, like I mentioned, artichokes, beets, celery, greens. Those are the big time bile movers. And for the Kapha type, get the mucus out of the intestinal tract with berries, spring harvested foods that are very astringent in nature. Cucumbers, even apples in the spring have the right properties to help pull the mucus off the intestinal tract. And then herbs like amalaki are fantastic. Please read. I wrote a very comprehensive article about all these details about how to diagnose or understand what type of occasional constipation you might have and what strategies you may use to bring it back into balance. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Hi, did you like this video? Do you like our content here at LifeSpa? You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/John Douillard right here and get this valuable content every week in your inbox.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at lifespa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.